Here it is, another edition of Weather for Weather Geeks. This is for Wednesday, the 22nd day of March. Losing track of the time here. We're getting into the last third of the month of March, and we're into spring now. April's just around the corner. We did a story on allergy season during the news this evening, and there are some thoughts that it might be an earlier than average allergy season. I am thankful to not suffer from many allergies, but I know a lot of you suffer as we go into April and May, and even into parts of June, so we'll see how this year pans out. But all those springtime topics, the things we talk about in the spring season, those will all be coming to the forefront over the next a few weeks. Well, beautiful sunset out there this evening. Let me actually scoot this over so you can see it. I'm recording this just at sunset, or just before sunset, in Boardman along 224 and Market Street. I'll keep messing with this a little bit so we get the best view. Of course, the first day of spring was a few days ago, and on the first day of spring, the sunset lines up exactly with 224. We're facing west towards Canfield here. And this evening, the sun's disk should go below the horizon just to the right of 224, just a little north of 224, and the sun will continue creeping into the northern sky as we go deeper into spring and into the start of summer as well. But notice the conditions. 28 degrees, clear sky, dew point of 10. That's a recipe for a cold night tonight. The air is dry. The sky is going to stay clear as high pressure builds overhead tonight. And temperatures should drop real quickly after sunset this evening. We talk a lot about radiational cooling. Well, what does that mean? Well, incoming solar radiation doesn't actually heat the air. It heats the ground. It's the ground that actually then heats the air. And when the sky is clear and the air is dry and the winds are light, that's generally a pretty good recipe for all that radiation to go back out into space as we head into the nighttime hours, and that allows the temperature to cool quickly. We've got an ideal radiational cooling setup for tonight. That's why it's going to get so cold. The dry air certainly helps things out. One of the reasons why summer nights tend to stay very warm, even if the sky is clear, all the water vapor in the air. That does not allow the radiation to as efficiently go back out into space. But clouds also can act as a barrier to the escaping heat, so that's why all things being equal, a cloudier night oftentimes is going to be a warmer night than a clear night. All right, with the clear sky tomorrow morning, if you're an early riser, great pass of the International Space Station tomorrow morning at 5:40 a.m. Very bright, very high pass, up at 61 degrees above the horizon. Now, it's only going to be visible for 3 minutes, not one of our real long ones, but it'll be real bright, appearing in the southern sky and disappearing 3 minutes later in the southeast. So, bundle up. It's going to be real cold outside, but if you're up early, I recommend going out and checking that out. It's always a great sight, and always amazing to think, hey, there's human beings on that thing up there. It's always one of my favorite things to do, and I know the kids love it too. And that's pretty early for the kids, but I get comments from teachers and parents all the time. Hey, thanks for pointing out the space station. My kids loved it. So hopefully, as we get into April, we'll have some evening passes at a more tolerable hour than 5:40 a.m. All right, as high pressure slips off to the east tomorrow, it's going to be sunny almost all day. Now, high clouds will start to filter in by the end of the afternoon into the evening. It's not going to be quite as pristine looking at the end of the day tomorrow as for a lot of the morning and midday. And then finally, these clouds will yield a little bit of rain, and I don't think it's much. Maybe a couple of tenths of an inch of rain late Thursday night into early Friday morning. But then it's out of here, and I think Friday's going to turn into a really nice day. I've taken the high for Friday up to 65, and that might still be conservative. I wouldn't be totally shocked if we got to like 68 Friday afternoon with enough sunshine. And I think the weekend's going to start pretty nice as well. We're in this warm sector, and until this low starts coming east and drawing more moisture in, I don't think it's going to rain much until probably Sunday. So I think Saturday is going to be pretty similar to Friday, maybe a little bit cloudier, but almost as warm. I think we'll get well into the 60s as we kick off the weekend. Well, as you know, Severe Weather Awareness Week rolls on here in the state of Ohio. We've been tackling all the severe weather topics: tornadoes, sirens, difference between a watch and a warning, all that sort of stuff. Posted this on our Storm Tracker 21 accounts and showed it on the news this evening. I am not the original author of this meme. I've seen this on the internet a few places, but it always makes me chuckle, so I thought I would pass it along. Difference between a watch and a warning. Yeah, warning tends to be a little bit worse. In all seriousness, though, one of the big concerns when we get into severe weather season is nocturnal severe weather outbreaks, and these tend to be more dangerous because, the weather's harder to see at night, and a lot of people are not as aware of their surroundings at night. Severe weather striking when people are sleeping tends to be, of course, more dangerous than when people are wide awake in the middle of the day. A few steps you can take, though, before heading to bed. If severe weather is in our forecast for a nighttime period, hopefully you've got our Storm Tracker 21 app. Turn on the alerts. Make sure you don't flip your phone into silent mode so you'll hear those alerts if a warning of some kind is issued. If you own a NOAA weather radio, and I always recommend that people pick these up, they're inexpensive and easy to program. If you own one of those, make sure it's in alert mode and check your battery backup in case you do lose power. Make sure your batteries are fresh. And speaking of batteries, well, all your devices, whether it be your cell phone, your tablet, your laptop, whatever you use to get information, most of us use a phone, make sure it's charged up before you head to bed, because if you lose power, and sometimes in real bad severe weather situations where tree limbs knock down power lines, you might be without power for some time. Make sure you got fully juiced devices. And if you have medical devices that rely on battery power, make sure they are all charged up as well. So just a quick few little handy tips in case we are expecting nocturnal severe weather. And a lot of times some of our severe weather does occur at night here. What happens a lot of times in the spring is big thunderstorm outbreaks occur out in the Midwest, say in Chicago, in the afternoon, and it takes until the middle of the night before they get here. I can't tell you how many times I've had to stay till 1, 2, 3 in the morning to babysit the radar, make sure that severe weather doesn't get too crazy while people are asleep, and while we're kind of in between shifts here after I leave and before Jess gets here in the morning. That's when a lot of our thunderstorms tend to occur here. They blow up in the afternoon to the west and then roll east during the evening and the overnight. All right, quick few words about the longer range here. Of course, as you know, if you've been paying attention over the last few days, the next 10 days generally pretty mild. It's what happens beyond that is in some doubt. Here's the kind of the 8 to 13 day outlook on the latest climate modeling here, and then we zip forward farther into April, and there are significant signs here, both on this modeling and the European longer range modeling, that as we get into maybe the 4th, 5th, 6th of April, maybe into that second week of April, that's our next chance of some sustained cooler than average weather. So we've got a solid 10 days of mild weather coming, starting tomorrow afternoon, but then as we get into the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th day of April, that's our next chance for some chill. Someone asked me on social media earlier, are we done with freezing temperatures after tomorrow night? No way. I've got a graphic I'll probably show you tomorrow. Our last freeze sometimes does not occur until well into May. The average is early May, but even in warm spring, sometimes we have a late freeze. So definitely don't want to sound that all clear just yet. As far as snow goes, if I were a betting man, I would say we're done with any sort of impactful snow for the season. But again, even in warm April, sometimes we get a cold shot like the one I just showed you where there might be some snowflakes. The chances of impactful snow, the kind you got to shovel and it causes disruptions, that becomes much less likely as we turn the calendar into April. Thanks for watching tonight's Weather for Weather Geeks. I'll leave you alone at 8 minutes and 17 seconds. Have a great night, everyone, and I'll